There is a car in Japan that most people outside of Japan have never seen in person. Not in a showroom, not in a magazine, not on a screen. It was never exported. It was never marketed to you. It was never designed to make you want it. And yet, if you were to stand beside one on a quiet street in Tokyo, just watching it idle at a red light, making almost no sound at all, you might feel something that is difficult to explain. Not excitement, not desire. Something older than both of those things. A kind of weight, a kind of seriousness that most machines stopped carrying a long time ago. That car is the Toyota Century. And the reason it feels the way it feels has almost nothing to do with how it looks. It has everything to do with what is underneath it. The Toyota Century is not built for the person who drives it. It is built for the person who sits in the back. In Japan, this distinction carries an entire culture inside it. The Century has been for decades the vehicle of senior government ministers, of corporate chairmen, of the Imperial Household itself. The passenger in the rear seat does not look out the window to be seen. The car does not announce its arrival. No one waves from inside it. Toyota built the Century around a single, almost philosophical brief. The passenger must not be disturbed. Not by road noise, not by vibration, not by the mechanical sensation of an engine doing work somewhere beneath them. The ride was to be so complete, so seamlessly composed, that the passenger could forget entirely that they were moving through the world at all. This created a problem that money alone could not solve. You can insulate a cabin. You can tune a suspension. You can layer acoustic material into every panel and door and floor. Toyota did all of these things and did them with extraordinary care. But underneath all of that, there is still an engine. And an engine, by its nature, fires. It pulses. It breathes. It announces itself in ways that no amount of foam and felt can fully erase. Unless you change the engine itself. Toyota's answer, in 1997, was something almost no other manufacturer had attempted in a production vehicle at this price point. A 5.0-litre, 60-degree V12. The engine is designated the 1GZ-FE. It was not developed to win anything. There was no rival it was built to defeat, no record it was designed to chase. The team that built it was given one instruction, stated in different ways, but always meaning the same thing. Make it disappear. And they did. A V12 engine, by the geometry of its design, fires 12 times for every 2 rotations of the crankshaft. The intervals between combustion events are so short, so evenly distributed across the cycle, that the individual pulses do not register as separate events. They blur, they merge. What would be a rhythm in a 4-cylinder, a rumble in a 6, a pulse in a V8, becomes, in a V12, something closer to a tone. And in the Century, even that tone is absorbed, dampened, carried away into the structure of the car until there is nothing left of it. Journalists in Australia who tested grey import Century V12s in the late 1990s wrote about the experience with a consistency that is itself telling. They did not reach for performance language. They did not talk about power or response. Almost all of them, independently, described the same thing. Sitting inside the Century, they stopped hearing the engine. They heard the road surface change beneath them. They heard ambient sound outside the glass. They heard, as one writer put it, the quality of the air. That is what the 1GZ-FE was built to produce. Not performance. Presence through absence. Toyota built this engine for 21 years. Then, in 2018, they stopped. The third generation Century arrived with a different powertrain. A 5.0-litre V8 hybridized with an electric motor. The official reasoning was straightforward. Emissions targets, fuel economy regulations, the realities of keeping a low-volume vehicle compliant in an increasingly strict environment. None of this was dishonest. All of it was true. But something happened in that transition that no specification sheet is designed to measure. The 1GZ-FE was not replaced because it had failed. It was replaced because the world around it had changed. Because a V12, with its complexity, its cost, its consumption, could no longer be justified on paper. The hybrid V8 system is genuinely impressive. Its electric motor fills gaps in the combustion cycle. Its refinement is real. In many conditions, a passenger in the rear of the new Century would notice nothing alarming. But there is a difference between a system that manages its roughness and a system that has no roughness to manage. The 1GZ-FE did not cancel anything. It produced silence not by suppressing what it was, but by being, structurally, something that silence was the natural result of. In engineering, the difference between solving a problem and not having the problem in the first place is the difference between craft and genius. Today, the most refined cars in the world, Rolls-Royce, Bentley, Mercedes, Maybach, achieve their acoustic environments through active systems. Microphones inside the cabin sample the engine sound signature in real time. Processors generate opposing waveforms. Speakers mounted throughout the car produce those waveforms continuously, cancelling the engine voice before it reaches the passenger. This works. It works so well that most passengers will never know it is happening. But consider what is actually occurring. The car is producing sound, and then producing a second sound specifically to destroy the first one. Two energies running continuously, working against each other so that you feel nothing. The Century V12 felt like nothing because it was nothing. There are perhaps 40,000 Century V12s still in existence. Nearly all remain in Japan, maintained quietly, used seriously, not as collectibles, but as tools that still do exactly what they were made to do. In Australia, the people drawn to grey import Century V12s are not conventional enthusiasts. They are not chasing a driving experience. They are drawn to something harder to name. The sensation of sitting inside a machine that has nothing to prove, that makes no demands on your attention, that was built entirely around your comfort and has not forgotten that instruction in the decades since it left the factory. There is no new car that does this in the way the Century V12 does it. That is not nostalgia. It is a fact. The 1GZ-FE is still running in the cars it was installed in, quietly, without drama. Owners do not report mechanical anxiety. They report that the car works as it always has and asks nothing in return. Toyota no longer makes a V12. No mass-market manufacturer does. The economics are impossible. The regulatory path is closed. The internal justification, spending serious development resources on an engine whose only purpose is refinement, with no performance story to sell, no rival to embarrass, cannot survive a modern product approval cycle. So the Century V12 sits in a strange place in history, not celebrated the way performance engines are, no racing pedigree, no famous victories, no cult following built around its sound or its fury. It has something quieter than all of that. It has a question it leaves behind. When we replaced it with something that measures just as well, that satisfies every requirement on the checklist, that passengers in the rear seat may never distinguish from what came before, did we actually replace it? Or did we replace the number and quietly lose the idea?